Good morning, 5th grade. Today we will be doing Module 5, Lesson 18. Our objective is to draw rectangles and rhombuses to clarify their attributes and define rectangles and rhombuses based on those attributes. So today we're actually going to be doing two different quadrilaterals. Remember, quadrilateral is a shape with four sides. The first one we're going to do is a rectangle. And before we can draw a rectangle, we need to define it so we know what we are drawing. So let me zoom in just a smidge here. Our properties, it says a rectangle is a quadrilateral with opposite equal sides, opposite parallel sides, and four right angles. So the first thing we're going to do is get out our straight edge. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see my workspace here. And I am going to be working right between where it says properties and polygon. And with my straight edge, I am going to start by just drawing a straight line. Pretty simple to start with. The next thing I'm going to do, because I remember that it said in my properties that it has four right angles, I am going to use my set square and I am going to stick it right here on that line. So I am going to start by making a straight line, and I'm going to line my ruler up on top of that sticky note because I know that they're parallel lines, and I'm going to draw my second line. So now I've already got most of my rectangle drawn. Here I have a straight line. We're going to go ahead and measure this side, and we can see, I'm not sure, can you see it close enough there? It measures 3 inches. So here we're going to label 3 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a point right there where those two lines meet. And my next step is to form my last line. If I can pick up my ruler. I'm going to measure and find where this makes 4 inches here. I used 4 inches because it's a little bit longer than 3 inches, and I want to make sure that both my top line, did you see my little dash, and my bottom line have points that I can connect that are 4 inches away. So down on the bottom line, I'm lining up my ruler, and when I get it where I want it, I mark 4 inches again. So here is what I have made. Now both of these dashes should be 4 inches away from this first point. I'm going to make a better point there. And from this point. And now all I have to do is play connect the dots. And actually we can measure while we're doing this. And you can see that it is a 3-inch line segment from point to point. And I already measured these, so I know that this top line is 4 inches. And it is equal and parallel to the bottom line, which is 4 inches. And I'm going to mark that by putting a little line through the top and the bottom, showing that they are both 4 inches. And we measured this side over here, and we know it's 3 inches. So I'm going to put 2 lines through those, showing those are equal lines. So both this segment and this segment, we'll go ahead and name them A, B, C, D. So line segment AD and line segment BC are both equal to 3 inches. And we're going to write that off to the side. Let me make sure you can see. Line segment AD equals 3 inches. Line segment BC equals 3 inches. And then this line segment is AB, and it is equal to 4 inches. And it is opposite of line segment DC, which is also equal to 4 inches. So now I have parallel lines here, parallel lines here, I have equal line segments here, and I have equal line segments here. Back down to our properties. It says opposite equal sides, opposite parallel sides. The last thing we need to do is check for right angles. And we can use our set square for that. We already know this one has right angles because we used our set square to make it. Same thing over here, we can use our set square and see that that fits perfectly in the corner. And the last way I want to check is using my protractor. I line the line up with the bottom of the protractor. I put the point in the hole, and if we look, it's pointing directly at 90 degrees. So when I mark a 90-degree angle, which is also called a right angle, I just put a little square in the corner, signifying that it is a right angle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all 4 angles of my rectangle. So all 4 are equal to 90 degrees. We're going to call this one DAB. DAB, angle DAB equals 90 degrees. Angle ABC equals 90 degrees. Angle BCD equals 90 degrees. And angle CDA equals 90 degrees. So when I add these again, our number should add up to 360 degrees. The sum of the angles of a quadrilateral equals 360. So 0, 0, 0, and 0 is 0. And 4 nines makes 36. And that is how we draw a rectangle. Okay, and our next quadrilateral is a rhombus. And before we can draw it, we need to define it. I'm going to zoom in so you can read these with me. It says, a rhombus is a quadrilateral with opposite parallel sides, 4 equal sides, and opposite equal angles. Diagonals bisect at 90 degrees. So, for a rhombus, we kind of draw it backwards compared to the way we've drawn our other shapes. Let's see, there we go. To start our rhombus, I'm going to start by drawing a line straight up and down in the middle of my paper. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a point on that line, and I'm going to just put a point on there. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to line that point up in the middle of my protractor. So you can see it's at the number, I'm not sure how well you can see. That point is at the number 3, so that's at 3 inches. And I'm going to take my protractor and I'm going to count an inch up to 4 and make a mark, and an inch down to 2 and make a mark. So I just made 1-inch segments. I'm going to label that while I work. And I'm going to put a point where I made those little hash marks. That is the first thing we're going to do. Next, we are going to draw ourselves a we're going to draw ourselves a right angle because it said our diagonals bisect at 90 degrees. So I'm going to put a mark here at 90. I put the middle point in the hole. I'm going to put a mark here at 90 and a mark on the other side at 90. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I put my point in the hole, line the line up, and we're going to put a mark at 90 and 90. Now I should be able to lay my ruler, my straight edge, right up on those hash marks. and draw a straight line. So now I have a 90-degree angle in the middle. Looking down here, it says diagonals bisect at 90 degrees. Diagonals are the lines on the inside of our quadrilateral, and I'll show you that in a minute. The next thing we're going to do is line our protractor up again at that middle point. So it's at 3. But this time I'm going to count out 2 inches from the center. So here's 1 inch, 2 inches, and make a hash. 1 inch, 2 inches, and make another hash. And I'm going to put a point at those places. So now I have a cross with 4 little points on it, and I get to play connect the dots. And while I'm doing this, I'm actually going to measure the distance from these points. So here is the 2-inch mark. Here's 2.5. So right in the middle, we're at 2 1/4 inches. So this line segment is at 2 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to flip it over here. Again, I'm going to measure while I draw. I'm at 0. Here's the next point. And again, here's 2. Here's 2.5. It's right in the middle at 2 1/4. And I'm going to label 2 1/4 inches. I'm going to flip my paper upside down and measure as I work. Here's the 0. And there is my next point. Excuse me. And you can see it's right at 2 1/4 inches again. 2 1/4 inches. And I bet you can't guess what the last one's going to be. We're going to line it up at 0 and meet the point. Again, here's 2, here's 2.5. We're at 2 1/4 inches. 2 1/4 inches. This is what a rhombus looks like. So we measured in all 4 sides. It says it has opposite parallel sides. If you look, these 2 lines are parallel. These 2 lines are parallel. 4 equal sides. We measured as we worked. All 4 sides are equal to 2 1/4 inches. And it says opposite equal angles. Well, that's the last thing we need to do because we know our diagonal bisects at 90. This is our diagonal. The diagonal is the line that runs through the middle and connects the points. And we know this is 90 degrees because that's how we created our rhombus. So, and I did forget to label this line segment here, and it was 2 inches when we drew it. So the last thing we need to do is measure our angles, and I'm going to go ahead and name them. This is A, B, C, D, because we're going to go ahead and label those while we're working, and we're going to write down our measurements because a quadrilateral has to have 4 angles. When the sum is equal to 360, we know we are correct. So this one we're going to start over here. This is going to be angle DAB. I'm going to flip it, and we line our line up with the line on the bottom of our protractor and put the point in the middle. We start at 0 and we count to where it intersects our protractor. So here we're at 0 and we count up. Here's 40, 50, 60 is past it. Right in the middle of 50 and 60 is where our line intersects. So this angle measures 55 degrees. So angle DAB equals 55 degrees. Next we're going to do angle ABC. Angle ABC. We put the point on the middle of our protractor, line our line up, and we count from 0 to where our line intersects.